Well, final division in the AFC here. Let's head down to the AFC South. Jags, Titans, Colts, Texans. Bold move by Houston, giving away their first rounder this year, because I don't see too many scenarios in which they are not, a bottom 5 NFL club this year. But hey, D'Amico Ryans obviously wanted to go out there and get his guys. So kudos to him for making a big swing. But that wasn't a team that was one player away from suddenly being a viable contender within their division, even as bad as their own division is here, right? And if you make the argument that Jonathan Taylor is going to sit out and you've got a rookie quarterback in there, which doesn't have a ton of offensive weapons to begin with, you could have a few really rough looking teams there, especially given the fact that I struggle to see what Tennessee's doing, right? Like Tannehill and Derrick Henry being in the last year of their contracts. I guess this is their last, kick at the can. And then next year they're fully turning it over. But going out there and getting DeAndre Hopkins. So now they're not bad enough to bottom out. They're not really good enough to, really truly compete. They're definitely not a Super Bowl contender. Maybe there's a roadmap for them to squeak into the playoffs with a dismal record. But I mean, to me, this is the Jags division to lose. Like, do you have anyone else above them here?
No, it's funny. Right after I said how hard this whole practice was, we got to this division, which was just super simple to me.
Yeah.
Bill is going to clean up this division. The Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson combo is here to stay. I think they're going to dominate. Calvin Ridley has looked fantastic. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos in training camp, but that dude is ready to go. And him and Kirk are going to make like a dominant combination at receiver. They somehow figure out how to use Evan Ingram after just the most inconsistent human being in the world. The dual threat at Etienne and Bigsby at running back. His offense is going to be set for years to come. Tennessee, like you said, they're kind of in this weird phase. They're like, we guess we don't believe in Treylon Burks, who we traded away AJ Brown to get Treylon Burks, but like, I guess he'll just be our wide receiver too because we need Hopkins. But Mike Vrabel is such a good coach that they're going to easily finish second in this division.
Yeah.
And I actually very much have the Colts at last. I have Houston surpassing the Colts. I think the Colts are going to be god awful. Jim Irsay doesn't know what he's doing. Jonathan Taylor, there's no way he's taking a snap for this team. I think he'll hold out before he takes a snap. Anthony Richardson, it might take that Josh Allen development path, but it's not going to be this year. He's not any receivers to throw to. They are going to, like, Gardner Minshew is going to be taking a lot of snaps for the Colts at some point this year. So Houston just kind of settles into that third place just because the Colts are that bad.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the Titans, like you say, they kind of finish second in spite of their roster, but because of the division that they're in. So I have kind of the same thing there, except I think the Texans are gonna be right down to the wire with the Colts for bottom of the division here. I think it's gonna be one of those things where just because they traded away that first round pick, the football gods and karma are gonna weigh in a little bit, and they'll end up losing, and an extra game that drops them from like 8th overall down to like 4th overall, and then they end up kicking themselves. So I think they're obviously an improved team from last year, which isn't saying a whole hell of a lot there. But yeah, I struggle to see a roadmap in which they went 3-13-1 last season, lost Brandon Cooks. Yeah, they added CJ Stroud. Their defense is still awful. They've got holes all over that offense. 4-5 wins at the absolute most is kind of their ceiling here. Can the Colts get there as well too? I see more of a roadmap than I do with the Texans, at least, because as bad as the Colts were, and obviously losing JT is going to hurt even more, they at least have the blueprints of having decent offensive line, couple, decent players on defense there, and Jack Leonard, and they've got some at least building blocks to play with. Whereas outside of, D'Amico Ryans signees and draftees, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff holding over from the previous regime that they've got to build around, because even Davis Mills, he can't be on the field at the same time as CJ Stroud. So it'll be a toss up between those two. But I mean, gun to my head, I'm going to go Jacksonville, Titans, Colts, Texans, which is exactly how they finished last year.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see that, but I don't know. I like Jonathan Mechie returning from leukemia at receiver. I think he's really talented. I like Pierce and Singletary as a combination in the backfield for DeMeco Ryans. So I like there's some pieces there. It's my prediction is basically that the Colts are gonna be a dumpster fire this year. I think they're just done. Gardner Minshew, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't come back, is their current rushing leader.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's I'll zig and on your zag there, where I actually think Dameon Pierce is going to disappoint quite a few fantasy owners this year, and we've seen the Singletary movie play out already. So if you're relying on Pierce and Singletary in your backfield behind, you know, a one-man offensive line, really, like, there's not a whole hell of a lot going on down there either. So, but again,
I'm not drafting either guy in any fantasy draft I'm doing. I just think as a combination, they can, if you combine their stats, they're like, oh, that'd be a good RB too. So I think like together they're going to have an okay year, but yeah, individually I think they're going to very much disappoint. So a little fantasy tip for you guys there.
Yeah, combined, maybe they'll eclipse 1,000 rushing yards this season.
Exactly. They're both like 650 yards and like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.